Good morning on this Wednesday morning at 5:59 in the morning dawn, Wednesday, August 13, in northern Thailand. So happy to see you and that beautiful sky. It's now 6 in the morning, 6 a.m., Wednesday, August 13th, the year 2568 in the Buddhist calendar, or 2025 in the Gregorian calendar, or is that the Julian calendar? Spacey Lulu, good morning. How you doing? How's everything? Hope you're doing well. Sean Simon, great to see you. Says, I think the world changes because my day is my light time right now. Yeah, right? It's amazing. Like when you think about it, we're on this planet and the sun's coming up over here and a lot of other people, so that like the earth is like turned around, and I'm seeing the sun, and a lot of you people seeing stars, or nighttime. Hey, Twisty Ladder, good to see you. Good morning. If you guys want to say where you're calling out from, that'd be real nice. Love to hear where you guys are from. So you're working at night, so that's your daytime. That's cool. I hear that. I worked a graveyard shift many years in my life, and I worked at night, and those are my days. You don't get to see the daytime, like if I had back then, I'm a little older, but back then if I could see things, like I wish I had a smartphone back then, because I would have been like looking and seeing what's going on and everything like that. Colorado, Rocky Mountains. No, I'm not tired. I'm just getting started. I'm dedicated to this. I started at 117 kilo. So that's about, 117 multiplied by 2.2 is 134, a little over 250 pounds. No, I'm good. I'm good. I had some water before I left. Made sure I was a little hydrated. But this is a 7 kilometer or about a 5 mile walk, right? So in this 5 mile walk, I'll be all right with that without any fluid. If I really need it, I'm sure that they have like some market, like here in Thailand, there are people up already at a morning market because they sell the food fresh, like on the street and stuff like that. So if I really needed something, I could go to them. But I appreciate you. Life is a beautiful thing, and we are blessed. That's for sure. Okay, so I started. Wow, has it already been that much time since I started? 33. It's like 37 minutes. I appreciate. That's not even possible, But I appreciate the offer. Yeah, you're very nice, but that's not even possible. And even if it was possible, I'll be like, why would you even do that? I don't deserve that, and I wouldn't accept it. Because it's not about money. I mean, Yeah, it's not about that. This walk is more about exercise, community, and being able to speak to people from all over the world. And yes, I don't go to church regularly here because I live in northern Thailand. So there are some Christian churches here, not in this town or province or anything like that, but I'm actually doing I do some history videos and stuff like that. And one of the videos that I'm working on is about the missionaries in Thailand and when they first came here, what they were doing and stuff like that, because I am born Christian. I'm raised into that. I'm a born a human being, right? But I was raised into the Christian faith. But I moved over to they're called the Quakers. I don't know if you know what the Quakers are, but they're like non-violence, very against certain things like violence, discrimination, alcohol. But that's not true. I wouldn't say that Quakers are truly, like, if you're like the really religious Quakers, they don't drink or smoke. But I know a lot of Quakers who used to smoke a lot of weed, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Man, I appreciate you. So then when I got to Thailand, right, I had like fallen out of faith for a long time in my life because I'm from New York, right? So when I was from New York, I used to think that I was a good person, but like I didn't realize that I really wasn't a good person until much later in my life. I was a street hustler. I was hustling, making money. Sometimes I'd have a job or something like that. But my main thing was, I'd hustle, different things, different places, parks and stuff like that. Like primarily a games player. Like I used to gamble for a living on the street. Hustle people. You call it hustling. People call it hustling, but I don't really call it hustling because that's like a derogatory term. I didn't like get anybody involved in anything that they didn't know they were getting into. If you're like, we're gonna play a game of chess for $20 or whatever it is, $5 or something like that. If you're like a Joe Schmo on the street walking by, and you see me see somebody like me sitting at the chess table, if it's going to be a $5 chess game, I'm probably going to win, right? So you're already prepared to lose that $5 to me. So that's what I mean by, and that's a very, very basic meaning of when I say like street hustling and stuff like that, because there's a lot of different levels and stuff like that. I used to do other things like sell tickets. What's up, Sean? Don't say that, dude, because you are a great person. I appreciate you very much. And it took me a long time to realize that. It took me a long time to realize that because I didn't know, I didn't know I wasn't like living in, like I knew when I left, like because I was torn, like I can't, have a broken family and stuff like that, So like I had like friends, friends on the street and stuff like that. And they also come from broken families and stuff like that. And you form a unity of sorts when you're very young because you don't have older people in your life who are giving you guidance. But I mean, like but a lot of us, even when we were young, like our mothers would take us to church and stuff like that and try to give us guidance. But somehow we would like leave, stop, after a while you stop believing as a youngster because you see like the inequities of life and stuff like that, like the fair, like things aren't fair. And you start to question, well, if there really was a God or whatever, and this and that, right? So I went through that for a little period of time because, seeing people get murdered and stuff like that. And I was just like, there's no way there's a God. You know what I mean? See somebody's brain fall out and stuff like that, So I used to like use alcohol and drugs and stuff like that, and street hustle stuff like that. Some I did petty robberies and stuff like that, whatever. But like that was a long time ago, and I ask for forgiveness every single day because I believe that God forgives me, but the hardest person to forgive me is myself. You hear what I'm saying? It's like the hardest person to forgive somebody is yourself, So that's kind of like a motivational factor, right? To try and do good and stuff like that, So that's part like why I'm on here, I try to talk a little bit about my life a little bit because number one, like nobody speaks English, almost nobody speaks English here, right? So like I don't get to speak a lot of English. I speak Thai language. My wife is Thai, our family here is Thai, and but like I like this interaction, to talk with people where I come from, you know what I mean? So that's like one of the main factors that I do it. Another main factor I do it is because, I decided I would take control of my life as far as like health and stuff like that. A lot of people don't take control of their life and they don't walk or exercise or something like that. And I had gotten up to like 250 pounds. I'm like 6'2" or something like that. So 250 I can carry, right? But it's still like, it's like what they call morbidly obese, right? So like ideally the weight that I'm supposed to be at, like if you like put it in like the app or something like that, they say like I'm supposed to be at 6'2", you're supposed to be like something like 185, 190 or something like that. What language do you speak? Like, do you speak Chinese, Asian American? Well, no, I don't really speak any Chinese. I mean, I know a few words, right? But like, I can speak Thai, right? So I came over here over 25 years ago. I met my wife about 25 years ago. The first moment that I got over here, right, I was like not looking to like associate with any Americans or Western people or anything like that, right? Because like when I got here, I was like, my mind was blown. I felt like being raised in a society in the United States, like everything that I was taught or I learned was a lie. Like when they say like everything turns in a New York minute, like the fastest thinkers and everything like that, the best hustlers and everything like that come from New York, right? Well, I mean, I kind of believed that that for a while, right? But I traveled around, the United States, like going cross country 5 times, doing I used to hustle tickets, like sporting events and stuff like that. Like we used to sell the tickets for like ball games and tennis. Tennis was a big one. Anyway, me and my partner, we would travel, from New York to New Orleans to Texas. And I went up to Washington. I went north for some other reasons, and not with my partner. But that was a whole different story. Anyway, yes, sir. I appreciate you, brother. So yeah, I do speak Thai. So like when I came over like 25 years ago, right, I made an effort to like learn how to speak Thai. Now I can't read Thai, and I can't write Thai, but I had a book, right, that like had a English phonetics, right. So like it like spelled it out in English, and it was like say in how you might say, like try to give you an idea how you might say it in the Thai way, right. And so like I would do that, or walk around with this book, right. And this was before my wife, right. So I would like be with a lot of girls and stuff like that. So I had to talk to the girls, right? You know what I mean? So I was like, I had this book, right? And I'm like looking through this book, and and gradually I learned pretty quickly actually, because I was still in my 20s back then. So I learned pretty quick. And like I said, like a lot of people that I associate with, even here back at that time, were also street hustlers. Everybody, not to say street hustlers, but like hustlers. Everybody's trying to hustle and make a dollar, you know. So that was like people I could communicate with, and like have a similar Arun Sawat. People I could have a similar mind frame, in a way, because it's what I knew, right? But then I mean, things change, because you go back to your roots, and all of a sudden you remember when you were like 5 years old, right? And the thing is, like, for a lot of us, like when we're 5 years old, right? It's like when we become aware of things and stuff like that, right? So like when I was 5, like I seen people already been murdered already and stuff like that. So I was like already fucked up in the head, excuse my language, but I was going to church, Hey man, I got determination on my side. I got to be determined to achieve the goal that I want to get to, and I mean, I feel like I could walk to the moon right now. Arun Sawat. I feel like I could walk to the moon right now if I had to. And such a beautiful morning like this, when I look at this sky, right? Check it out. I'm very serious when I say this, because like it dawned on me, right? I look up at the sky, right? I'll stop a second just to look, right? You look up at this sky and you think, there is no man in the world, no human being in this world has enough money, bars of gold, ingots of silver, or anything to pay for that. And there is no man in this world who can recreate it, be it on a computer or a canvas. And that's how I realized that there's a higher power. That there's something greater, obviously greater than ourselves, right? And I'm not saying say one belief or anything like that is better than the other or anything like that. I'm just saying that to get through the darkness, you have to go towards the light. You know what I'm saying? So however you're going to get through the darkness to get to the light, you have to get to the light, right? I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you could choose not to, right? A lot of people choose. They go their whole lives without choosing or even having, like, the ability. But, like, it's like when you, like, reference back to, like, when your mom, put you in a Sunday school or something like that, because that's what we used to go to Sunday school. Me and my sisters. Sunday school, and the reason why we changed the faith there was because that pastor at that Sunday school and his 2 children, they went off on missionary work. That's actually one of the reasons why I was talking about doing the history thing. They wanted to do some missionary work in Africa, right? And they all got murdered, right? So, and I was like, wow. I'm like 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that. That wasn't even the first murder, but that was the pastor, right? And I knew his son and his daughter, and his son was best friends with my sister, and I was like, oh wow, man, there really isn't a God. And that's when I stopped going to church, and then they still still like older people a little bit try to give me some advice or point me in the right direction. And that's when we went to the Quakers, right? Because Quakers were like a little more, the pastor and his family were dead, right? So that church, basically closed up for a while. So anyway, we're gonna go to the Quakers. A lot of hippies and stuff like that go to the Quakers. And so I think Quakers are kind of known for being hippies in a way, But anyway, so I went through that, but then the people in my neighborhood were everybody had problems. Everybody not everybody, but I would say the people in the public school that I went to or whatever like that, the friends and stuff like that, people that I knew, right? I had because I had a messed up family situation, a lot of the families that like they had like a father there and a mother there and stuff like that, they wouldn't like let their kids be friends with me or let their kids be friends with people like me, right? Because like they knew, you know, this is an unstable situation. You know, that's not the direction they wanted their children to go in. So they had like these, you know, father figure, mother figures and stuff like that. You know, and I really didn't have that. But I found it later. You should not start with church. You should go and talk to the good Dutch Jesus. You're a great person. Whoever made you, you treat you. Amen, brother. I appreciate you. You know, and you know, the Jesus, you know, even like the Buddhists right here, they say Jesus was a Buddha. They say Muhammad was a Buddha. Well, I'm not so sure about that, but I'm gonna just say that anyway. But like anybody of divine revelation or anything like that is basically a Buddha, right? You know, and that means like an enlightened one, somebody who's enlightened to see through the madness of this world, right? And that's the only thing that's going to save anybody from going totally crazy or homicidal or suicidal or just like totally like comatose or whatever, right? Because this world is a messed up place and it got a lot of bad things that are happening. And just don't be a part of those bad things is a big compliment and a big, you know, it's a big, is being part of the community and stuff like that. Like, I never really wanted to be a part of the community. Like, you know, I love sports and everything like that, but I didn't play sports because I didn't get to go put in those little leagues and stuff like that. My parents, you know, the parents didn't do that for me, right? I wish they had give me some discipline or something like that, you know. But I love sports. I watch sports, you know. Grew up during the 80s, 70s, and 80s. You know, so that was a great time to watch sports. Anyway, so, yeah, man. Just got to be part of community. You know, the community don't reject you. The community is not going to reject you as long as you don't reject it, right? And even if you do reject it, the community still wants you to do better. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a religious thing either. You know, that used to be a common sense thing, or you know, I mean, you could define it in your own ways, right? I mean, I just believe that there's a power greater than myself, and that, you know, I'm not all of that. Like, you know, that I used to think that I was, and I had a big head, and I hear that they won't let you do that now or in the past. No, they won't let you hang out with kids from broken homes, or they won't put you in a sports program. Because if they don't put you in a sports program and you really want to go, Arusa, kunta, sabari pao. I mean, you know, that's the thing. Is like I didn't find out till later, so I did find like when I was out in the parks and stuff like that. When I get to be like 14, 15 years old, right? Some of the older men, like in Washington Square Park, like the older men who they've been in prison, released, whatever, they come out and play chess. That's how I started playing chess. I started hanging out with them because, like, that was like a lot of people were getting involved in drugs, right? And I was like, oh man, this is bad. I seen what happened. Is like little Jim, and all sorts of people. My sister went to prison for 8 years because of crack, and you know, she's better now, you know. So, but like, I've seen it, you know, and then like I didn't have a father figure in my life, so the older men in the park were like I remember. I'll tell you the honest truth, man. I went to the park one time, and his man, I'd never met him before, right? But like he was like in his 60s, maybe something like 60s. His name was London, right? And I was walking in the park, right, and I was playing chess and talking and stuff like that. I come from a mixed family, right? So like my family's mixed, blended, beautifully blended. Anyway, so London was an older man. He just looked at me, and I was like 14 years old, right? And he goes like this. He goes, "The white people didn't want you, so they gave you to us." I was like, I started smiling ear to ear. I was like, "Oh man, I'm right where I gotta be," because now I got an older man who's going to tell the truth about things. You know what I'm saying, right? And London was a dark-skinned man, and he became my mentor. Oh, okay, so all right. So you're 14 right now, all right? So this is a critical age for you, right? So you got to find, I mean, like, I don't know, like, if you have bad life or anything like that, I hope you don't, but there are a lot of people out there going to tell you, don't do stupid things. Like, there's a reason why. Like, I found out a little bit late in life, but and the thing is, like, I think about it like this, right? If they have scripture, Bibles, other religious texts and stuff like that, giving advice to humankind for 6,000 years, who are we as just like just a blip on the map in the space of time to challenge the information and the wisdom and knowledge of the written scriptures that tell us how we should behave, not to kill, not to steal, not to promiscuate, not to talk down to people, not to abuse people, like these kinds of things, right? Because if people aren't told that, literally they might not know, they might not know. Like, there are people out there who don't know that it's not right to kill, or it's not right to steal, or it's not right to fornicate, or it's not right to talk badly about other people and stuff like that. They don't know it. Because for whatever reason happened in their life, they didn't follow that path. That's a monk right up ahead of us in the orange, right? He walks out, he and other monks like that, in the Buddhist religion, right? He's out there to remind everybody about the humility of life. So as a monk, as a Buddhist monk, right? That's what one of their jobs are to do, is to remind people in society that, and I don't mean they're a monk for their whole life or anything like that. Like most kids would be like a monk for a period of months, maybe a year even. Or if they don't have mother or father, then they stay in a monastery, not in a monastery, like the Wat, and whatever. Like, that's how they're raised. So that's back to the thing. Sean, I hope and pray for you that you have a happy life, and it sounds like already, like, just stay on the path, on the right path, no matter what, Oh, Arun Sawat. So that's just saying, yeah, stay on the path of a couple of them. Yeah, ออกกำลังประมาณ7 กิโลแล้วก็บ้านยายพันธุ์นู่นรู้จักไหมครับยายพันธุ์นู่นยายพันธุ์บ้านครับผม So I did start steal, but I turn around and put it back in the store. Classic kid. Anyway, yeah, right. So I don't want to do that because I go to church every single day. Well, that's a blessing. That's like wonderful. To to hear that you are on the right path. And I mean that with every cell of my body, because everybody wants you to do well. The people who are on the right path, they're not following the path of evil or corruption and stuff like that. We want we want you to do well, right? Right, and that's what I was like. It took me a long time to realize. I mean, like, thank goodness you're 14 and you realize this stuff. You're thinking about this. When I was 14, you couldn't even tell me about it, man. I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah. So you realize that. What do you call Loom? People in society, like everybody in this village, they want me to do well, right? Not everybody, but like, most people, who are addicted to drugs or alcohol or something like that, they want other people doing well. They don't want to be around people that society wants you to be around good people who don't do malicious, bad things out of greed or these, the sins. Like, in Christian, this thing is the 7 deadly sins. And Buddhists have the 8-fold noble path. And I don't know what Muslims have, but I'm sure they have one. Like all, most religions, I mean, it's about not necessarily devoutly like being fanatical and believing like I don't really believe in. I mean, I believe that Jesus Christ walked this earth at one point or something like that. I believe that. Is he the Son of God? Well, I think that what he represents, the idea, is the idea, right? An idea is more powerful than a man or a woman. And it's the idea that, that we have the ability and the capability to make decisions. So, I mean, that's kind of where it's at. I want to show you something really beautiful for a second, though. No, sir, I'm not tired. Like I said, I could walk to the moon today. Check this out. This is over here. This is a rice field. Okay, like so. All that green, that sea of green that you see out there is rice, and I don't know how many families share the plot of land. It looks to me like probably like one person, one family, maybe. I don't know. It could be, might not be. But then, you have the mountains in the background and stuff like that, right? And it's just take that second and look at those clouds too. Oh, wow. And the blue sky and stuff like that. I mean, if you told me I could have all the money in the world, but I can't have that, I couldn't even say yes to $1 or 1 penny. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody in their right mind, first of all, you wouldn't, I mean, that's like, don't make any sense. All right, let's keep going. We don't have too much longer to go, but it's been fantastic. Sean, I really appreciate you, brother. And I'd like to say I know that you would do good in life. I'm sure you are on the right path. You sound straight up, and you sound like you got a good head on your shoulders. And people are out there. There are people out there that are looking out after you. Like looking at they like you might not know it, but like but like and like I didn't know it. I wasn't. I mean, to be honest with you, I wasn't half as smart as you when I was 14. I mean, I thought I was, but took me a long time to learn things. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is this: is that society wants you to be a good person. I'm sure it sounds like you have a good head on your shoulders, and I really wish and hope the best things for you. And that's fantastic. You made my morning. Yeah, okay, at least you have a sense of humor too. All right. Anyway, So I will leave you with this about something. About when you talk about the 10 grand and stuff like that, right? So you ever hear of Bob Marley? I know you must have heard of Bob Marley, right? Bob Marley and the Wailers, right, Bob? Right? So they did an interview with Bob Marley, right? And he had been famous for a long time. All his music go transpire across the whole world and everything like that. And people have been listening to it and stuff like that, right? So they had this guy from the BBC in England come over to Jamaica and interview him, right? And the interviewer says to Bob Marley, says, they've been talking for a while. And Marley's just sitting there, being, nice, relaxed and everything like that. And the reporter asks him, says, well, Mr. Marley, you're famous throughout the world and you sold a lot of records and everything like that. And you're so famous, you must have a lot of money, right? And Bob Marley he pauses, right? You can see the pause, right? He pauses, right? And he looks at the guy dead in the eye. He got the reporter dead in the eye. And he says exactly this: money? You measure your wealth in money? I measure my wealth. He goes on to say he measures his wealth in his friends and his family. That's how he measures his wealth. Because Bob Marley was a Christian. I mean, you might not know this, but Rastafarians are Christian people. That's why I believe that Bob Marley should be canonized as a saint, because I honestly believe that Bob Marley performed a miracle in this world and changed and brought happiness to a lot of people. And he should be a saint, in my opinion. But I don't know if anybody ever try to make him a saint or anything like that, but he should be a saint, I mean, I think that he probably changed more lives than Mother Teresa, and I don't mean to say that like in a demeaning kind of fashion, but I honestly believe that, he performed a miracle in the world with his music, which brought happiness and joy to billions of people, and still to this day, so that's what I got to say about that. Good morning, Nancy. Hi, hello. How are you today? How's everything? Where are you calling out from, Nancy? Now, weren't you here the other day, Nancy? It's fantastic to see you on this beautiful Wednesday morning at 6:37 a.m. in the morning. And where are you calling out from, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, fantastic. You're on your lunch break. All right. Well, that's great. I hope is that like during the daytime, nighttime, whatever. It don't matter. You just stay wherever you feel like, saying, But that's cool. That's nice. I'm blessed to be able to share time with all of you. It's beautiful. Sean Simon says, it's beautiful morning out there. I love it, which you can see my world, but my world is like different than yours. Mine's like dark. I hope you don't mean that in your mind it is dark, because like I said, you go to church every day, right? Speak freely with your pastor or your reverend or something like that. You can speak freely, because there are people out there that love you. I love you, and there are people out there that don't even know me that love me. And so long as you know you got love, wow, that's a powerful thing, right? So if your mind is in a state of darkness, you sound like you have a good head on your shoulders, right? So you reach out to the people, reach out to the people like in your church. If you go to church every day. Oh, second day on the job? Oh, fantastic. Well, I hope you like it. At least the day will go by fast, right? Because it's the second day. Wait till the 22nd day. You'll be looking at the watch every 30 minutes. Like, is my shift up yet? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just how making a joke about work because, that's how I would be, you know. But it's a blessing to see you here today, and a blessing to be seen and be heard and have the replies from all of you beautiful people, So just know the world is full of love. It's not all full of war and corruption and terrible things. In fact, most of the people probably in the world aren't filled with corruption. It's just that small percentage of people in the world that are after certain things. Arun Soyay, Arun Kunta, Sabadi Lupao. I got booty suit. So, yeah, man. Do I go to work? Well, yeah, yes, sir. Hey, little Dave, what's going on, brother? I worked for a very, I did work. I mean, yes, I work now, remotely. But I got a little egg, So, like, what's up, girl? Hello, yeah, you my love. See? You see a dog run up on me like that? A lot of people, like, who are not experienced around dogs, they'd be afraid. They'd be like, oh, shit, the dog's going to bite me or something like that, That dog didn't want to bite anybody. She wanted to sniff me. She gave me a nose kiss. So I speak a little of a lot of languages. Like I speak English the most. I speak some Spanish. I speak a little bit. Actually, maybe I speak more French than I speak Spanish. A little bit of German, a little bit of Russian. But my second language is Thai. So I'm a number. Yeah. Well. Oh wait. Did you see check out the video? If you look at my channel, right? This little kid brought over 2 puppies. Right. He's like 5 years old or something like that. His name is Otto, and he brought these puppies over with the old lady because the puppy's mother had been poisoned, right? And he said he wanted to give us these puppies, and that's on the video. If you look at my channel, you'll see that in the shorts. It's the kids so cute and everything like that, and the puppies are just absolutely adorable. My wife is giving them milk and everything like that now, so they're just like 2 weeks old, like barely open their eyes. I wish, Sean, I wish I could give you one of them, but if you come over here, well, you can have. I'm sure you'll be blessed with the relationship. You see, when you have an animal like a dog or a cat, it's a relationship, right? That's part of your family, and that dog or that cat has a mind also, and it'll love you or it will fear you depending on how your personality is or how you treat that animal, right? So that's why it's like when you see the puppies, it's just pure love and stuff like that, But I see when I've been back in, cause I live in Newark and Jersey City, Brooklyn. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised. So all the animals are on leashes. You've got 5 cats, 1 dog, and they always fight. Oh, okay. Oh, that's too bad. Well, I mean, we have 1 grown dog, and my wife has 18 cats, right? Now the cats fight amongst each other, but this dog, not the puppies because they just came yesterday. The big dog, he goes out. He tries to break up the fights between the cats. It's crazy, He's like he sees them fighting. He's like jumps in between them and stuff like that. But then there's the thing is that 5 cats and 1 dog, that's 6 mouths to feed 3 times a day, you know? But that's a lot of love too, you know? Anyway, we're getting up to about the end of this this walk here. Mr. Sean, God bless you. May your journeys in life be most plentiful and filled with love, joy, and health, and good health, and just enough money to make you happy. God bless you all. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I hope you all have a blessed, wonderful morning, noon, or night.